I didn't have nearly enough fun. When I look back at my kids' formative years and the years, I was so busy momming that I didn't intentionally create the confetti moments for myself, for my kids, for my friends. I was just, stuck I probably zoomed in. I was probably in zoom in 99% of the time. Maybe that's why that stuck out to me.
It's true. And when someone asks me, like, what's the book about? I say the book is about being human and being humble. So some confetti moments are moments of celebration.
Yep.
Some of them are just that realization, like, oh, I'm taking myself a little too seriously.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Renew Podcast. I am your host, Kristen Andre, and as always, we are here to help you reclaim your business and your life without losing your edge. And I am crazy excited this morning because I have Amy Jamrog, who friend of mine, which is obviously the coolest part, but she is a Wall Street Journal and a USA Today best-selling author of the recently released Confetti Moments. So we're going to have some fun today because this is a topic I don't think we talk about enough. So Amy, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you. This is so exciting for me to be here too. And this is my favorite subject. So
it's good. It's funny because we've known each other for, oh gosh, I hate that I'm dating us, more than 2 decades now, I think, or coming up on 2 decades. And we both have finance backgrounds, which is not always the most exciting thing to talk about. So when you were, telling me about the book and doing Confetti Moments and, when I first heard the title, I was like, this is amazing. But we don't really take enough time to have confetti moments, to celebrate. So first and foremost, for everybody listening, tell us what a confetti moment is.
A confetti moment is a small moment of joy, celebration, or surprise. So it doesn't have to be a wedding or a graduation, right? It doesn't have to be something grand, but it's one of those moments where you find yourself pausing and thinking, something really great is happening right now. And it might be for yourself. It might be kind of a private moment where you realize this is something to celebrate, or it could be with someone else, or a shared experience with a group of people. And what I love about confetti moments is when you become aware of them, you start to recognize them more frequently, and the more frequently you see them, I think the more frequently you start to create them for other people.
Well, and it goes to the fact of what you focus on grows, right? And we so often focus on the negative. So this, if we start focusing on the cue the cannon moments, which is your confetti moments, which is cool. And I've seen a lot of your pictures I think you're throwing a lot more confetti around these days in some of your personal pictures. But what intrigued me at the very beginning of the book, when you were talking about kind of what cued it, and this stood out to me, which it may not have to other people, but you talked about a time where you'd gone to pick up your son from a slumber party or a sleepover. I guess I don't know if the guys call it a slumber party, but sleepover. And the mom came out. Yeah. And so I'm like you. It's as soon as the mom walks out and said, oh, I wanted to tell you something. You're like, oh, no, what'd they do? Right?
Yeah.
But tell us about that moment, because when I read that, I'm like, I wouldn't have thought of that as a confetti moment, but it kind of shifted how I was thinking about those cue the confetti moments. It made me start thinking like it's the little things too that we skip over a lot of times. So tell that story, because that was kind of cool.
Yeah, thank you. My son is now 21. This is back when he was 15. He had a sleepover, down the street with a bunch of kids, and I had to pick him up early in the morning because he had sports practice. So I roll into the driveway, I'm waiting. It's early. I don't want to call or honk the horn or anything, so I'm sure the other kids are sleeping. Yep. So the mom comes out of the house. She's like in her pajamas, in her slippers, and she comes shuffling over to my car. I think, oh gosh.
Right.
She said, I wanted to catch you. Yep, before your son comes out. He's packing up his stuff. I just want to let you know, late last night, the kids got hungry. They ordered takeout. A bunch of pizzas showed up, pizza, wings. The kids kind of made a mess of the kitchen, and then they all went back downstairs to watch their shows. And your son was the only one who stayed and cleared all the dishes, put everything in the dishwasher, and asked me if there was anything else that he could help with. And I just, as a mom, I just wanted you to know what a great kid you have. And why this was a confetti moment for me, right? It doesn't seem like it's something spectacular, but I was
It is at
really,
my
really
house.
struggling.
If that happened with my kids,
I
it'd
would say,
be big spectacular.
as a mom, right? Like
Yeah.
as a mom, struggling to like teach the lessons, and you have these teenagers who like you just think, is anything
Yeah.
sinking in? Is he hearing any of this? And I was really, questioning like, am I just doing a terrible job as a
Right.
parent? And so this moment for this mom to, first of all, to take the time early in the morning to share that with me, she created that confetti moment for me, right? I wouldn't have known otherwise. And it was just this moment where I was like, okay, maybe I am doing an
Yeah.
okay job here.
I'm
And
doing all
then,
right. Yeah.
well, and then it became this little, awkward but still confetti moment for my son when he got in the car, all grouchy, and it was early, and I said to him,
Yeah.
I just want to tell you I'm proud of you, and I conveyed the story to him, and as a teenager, he's like, yeah,
Yeah.
whatever, but you could tell
Yeah.
it mattered to him that he had that acknowledgement too, and so these are the things where I say confetti moments are when we notice and celebrate the ordinary.
But you had somebody. So what sparked this whole thing, or that story was, you weren't creating it for yourself. So it's not just that you can create a confetti moment yourself, but she created one for you. She is
Right.
taking the time out, because I know in the book, and we'll talk about this, it's 52 vignettes. So you've got one a week, which is perfect, and an opportunity to really expand. And you could create some for yourself. You could create some like she did for you, for other people. But when I first heard the title, I think my brain automatically went to the grand things, what I like to call the big gestures. And as I'm going through the book and was reading through, not all of them are the big gestures. And I think that's the part that's so beautiful about it, is we can find or create confetti moments in everyday life. So tell us some of your favorite, because you have 52. So there's, for those of you guys that are going to pick up the book, and we'll leave a link to it. There's 52 things. There's one thing you can do a week. But even before that, let me back up a little bit. You have a readiness quiz, an assessment that people can take. So tell us, first of all, I love that. I was scared to take it, because I was like, it's going to tell me that I have no fun. It's going to tell me that I have nothing spectacular or I did better. I passed the assessment. I did better than I thought I would. But it was cool, because it kind of lets your readers know, are you ready? So tell us about the assessment first, so people know kind of what it's going to tell them.
Yeah, so we call it, are you confetti ready? And what it really means is, are you someone who has fun? Are you the life of the party? Maybe you're somebody who's introverted. You're not the one that brings the joy into a crowd, right? Maybe that's just not your jam. But you get this assessment to say, okay, let's take a look at where you are right now, and then where do you want to be? And if you're someone, like I had a client say to me yesterday, I read your book and I was in tears at the end of it, because I realized this is easy to do, and
Yes.
I don't do it.
Right.
But I'm going to take it on for this year. And so I think, you take this little readiness, and no matter what your score is, then you read the book.
Yep.
And you go into the book with a kind of a sense of where you are. And the book walks you very, very simply through each chapter is
Yep.
a 5 to 7 minute read. It's very short, but at the end of each chapter, there's some prompts, 3 questions to ask yourself. So self-assessment, and then there are action items you could take in the next 7 days. So it's like easy, instant action, and all you have to do is take one on a week. And there are stories that will spark inspiration, conversation, and connection for anybody. It's appealing to all different ages of people, no matter where you happen to be in life.
Yeah, I think there's something for everyone. As I was going through, and I'm you guys will laugh if you guys are watching this live. I highlight dog-ear books. I'm an old school reader. Like, I like to write in them and everything. But there were some, you're right, that I connected with immediately, that I was like, oh, that is so me. Right. And even the ones that I'm like, okay, I get that. I see where that's coming from. But there were some that kind of stood out. And the one I wanted to bring up, and I mentioned to you this before we went on air, let me find the name of the chapter. It was the Sometimes We Need a Wider Lens chapter. It was towards the beginning, but it was talking about how so often in our world, we find the one negative. And what you had talked about is, you'd gotten some feedback from some coaching you had done or groups you had done, and, we'll get 50,000 rave reviews. And then there's that one negative person who just, got their big boy pants in a wad and is just mad for some reason, right? And that's the one we focus on, whether it's negative or mediocre or whatever. We forget all the other great things people do or great things people said about you and the work you've done, and we zoom in on the one negative. So that chapter stood out to me a lot because I wouldn't have thought of that as a confetti moment. But it is. If you really think about it, it's like, let me learn what's an area of my life where I tend to just go zoom right into and zoom in on that. So I feel like the book gave an opportunity. When I first heard it, I thought it was going to be, how do we go have a party? How do we do this? But it wasn't. It was these little simple things that we can do each and every day and week to say, all right, I need to have some more fun in my life. Because I will say I'm guilty of this. I don't know about the rest of you guys, but I didn't have nearly enough fun. When I look back at my kids' formative years and the years, I was so busy momming that I didn't intentionally create the confetti moments for myself, for my kids, for my friends. I was just, stuck in I probably zoomed in. I was probably in zoom in 99% of the time. Maybe that's why that stuck out to me.
It's true. And, when someone asks me, what's the book about? I say the book is about being human and being humble. So some confetti moments are moments of celebration.
Yep.
Some of them are just that realization, like, oh, I'm taking myself a little too seriously.
Right.
And I have to just share with you. So this happened to me this morning. So I'm getting ready. Like, I know I'm going to be, on camera today. So I'm thinking about, like, what's my outfit? How do I look? Thinking about my hair, making sure my forehead's not shiny, putting on my lipstick. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm feeling good. Yeah. And I'd like, look at myself in the mirror. I give myself like a big smile. All my teeth are covered in lipstick. And it was this moment where I looked ridiculous. And, just when I think I'm looking good, and it was that like zoom in, lipstick on the teeth. I look crazy, like, get it together, girl. And I just laughed out loud. And it was this little confetti moment, like, yeah, check yourself.
Yeah.
Don't take yourself so seriously, and, and check your teeth.
You check your teeth. Don't take yourself. But, we take ourselves seriously, especially those of us in business and that are running companies and are executives and things like that. We're so busy and so on all the time that we don't stop to just laugh and to have fun. And that's been, a lot of that's the people you're around too. But I feel like even within ourselves, we can do that. Because I've noticed that with my kids even, and this is where I think this book is so great at showing you how to do it, because we weren't taught that. We weren't taught, as kids, we were taught to have fun. And that was one of the things that stood out to me too. It's like, what did you do as a child that like sparked joy, or that you had fun, or like if you're, how when we were growing up in the 70s, your parents are going, go outside and play. If you said that to a child now, they'd be like, what am I supposed to do with my phone? Like, what do I do outside? They don't know what to do, but I feel like this is an opportunity. That was one of my favorite ones. It's like, what are you going to do to unpack and relax your decadent moment? What do you go back to? What makes you excited? What made you excited when you were a kid? When did we lose that?
We lose that.
We lost it.
And I've been studying a lot about peak performance and flow. And when you look at the neuroscience of what makes people happy and what contributes to longevity, especially for those of us in our 50s, like, we got to think about this, because we're now in the next half. That one of the number one things that stands out among all the others is play. Is that people who are willing to play, to disconnect from all the rules and to just have fun. So there's one of the chapters in the book is called Crafter Day.
Yeah.
And it's these days that I spend with my niece, who's 9. And now my niece is all about confetti and glitter and, anything that's sparkly. And so when we have these moments together, we sit for hours and we do some sort of craft. She will glue things and cut things out, and she'll make dream boards for hours. Last weekend we sat for 3 hours and I taught her how to crochet. And she's so into it.
Yeah.
But for me, it was 3 hours on the couch, no phone, no interruption, no social media. The TV wasn't on. it was just the two of us chatting, crocheting, and it was what I had done with my grandmother as a kid. And it brought me right back to that total relaxation.
Yep.
I looked at her and she's like, "Look, Auntie, I'm making a blanket all by myself." And I said, "I know, you're doing an amazing job." And it was that moment where you go, something special is happening right now.
Yeah.
And we do need to take the time to just return to the things we used to love to do that we've either gotten too old for, gotten too busy for, or don't think it's necessary, but it is.
And think of the ripple effect of that, because your niece is going to learn this, and she's precious because I've seen, we're connected on social, and I know you post a lot of pictures, but that's a confetti moment for you. You're creating one for her. Honestly, as a viewer or somebody that's connected to you and follows you, I see that because you posted, she's precious. And like, she's got the biggest, I've seen you post like on craft days when y'all have done, what did y'all do, cookies or something? There was something y'all did over the holidays too, that like, she's just got this smile all of you guys are smiling and it's contagious, and I saw the ones from the book launch too, and it's just anytime that we have a confetti moment for ourselves or we create one for somebody else and we share it, that kind of has this ripple effect. And I feel like at this point with the wackadoodle state of our world, we need so much more of this.
It's easy to do. This is the thing. So I had posted pictures of me and my niece doing this crocheting, and a number of my friends on social media and clients, because I'm connected with all of my financial planning clients on social media, many of them reached out and said, "I've always wanted to learn how to do that. I wish I learned that when I was a kid. I'd love to learn how to crochet." So I just set up Crochet Saturday at my office, and I invited a couple dozen
That's
people.
awesome.
And we had a bunch of women, their kids, sons and daughters. I probably had 20 people sitting here on the couches all over the place. I sent them, what needle to buy and what kind of yarn to buy. And we sat as a group and had coffee on a Saturday morning, moms and kids, and every single person learned how to do it. And it was this confetti moment, right? Where I had this moment with my niece. I posted it, other people saw it, they were interested. How do we then make this kind of exponential and continue to share it with other people? Now I'm watching those people post the things that they've been making on social media. Like, now they just know how to do it. And so it's just this continued celebration for them for this little thing that started with my niece.
I think that's amazing. And that's the whole, I'm guessing that's the whole reason you did this, and the whole reason you want to spread this word is because we've gotten away from we used to do these things as kids. And not all of us. I know some people didn't have childhoods where they did this, but these are all things. There was not a single one of the 52 to me that you're like, oh, there's no way I could do that. There wasn't anything. You're not diving off a cliff. It's just really think about this for yourself and what does that mean? So, as people are picking up the book and starting to think through, where do they start? The readiness assessment, obviously, start there and see where you want to grow. But do you just start at chapter 1 and start figuring it out? Or what do they need to, I guess, mindset-wise, what does their head need to be thinking as they dive into this?
Don't overthink it. The whole
that's so good.
purpose of the book is simplicity.
Yeah.
So you can just start at chapter 44 if you wanted to. You will cry. That's a good one. But you can start anywhere, or you could start at the beginning. And I had a couple emailed me the other day and said, "We bought this book for Christmas. We love it. Each morning we read one of the chapters together over our coffee, and then we set our intention." I was like, okay, that's awesome. I have another family who said, "We got this book over the holidays, and this is our Sunday dinner conversation. And we're randomly letting the kids choose a chapter. That's the chapter we read over dinner. And then we read the prompts, and everybody has some homework to do for the week. And then we read another one the following Sunday." So I think you could tackle it any way you want to.
Because they're not sequential. Yeah, they're not sequential. They don't build one another. They're just different vignettes, which I just had to peek at your chapter 44. Oh, yeah. That's a good one. I'll tease y'all. It's bus stops and drop offs. So that should be pretty self-explanatory, especially for parents out there. But there's so many in here that are just fun. There's nothing in there that's meant not to be fun, obviously, but the whole thing with me is the sparking. You said ideas to spark, connect, and create. And that's what you say each week. So spark conversation, allow you to connect with the others, and create some intentional things that you can do. Because there's none of this that's what stood out to me. You said it takes 5 minutes to read it. This is a 10-minute conversation once a week. If you can't have 10 minutes to guide your week, to create more joy, to create more confetti moments, that's a sad state. And I think everybody has the time to do this.
Well, we can make the time. You know, I'm someone who really loves journaling. Like I love a blank page. I'm a writer. I've been writing my whole life. You know, I had journals when I was in second grade. So for me, it's very natural to journal. And I know for a lot of people, it's very unnatural. The blank page scares them. So that's the other intention for this book is if you're someone who would like a daily meditation or would like a weekly assignment or a writing prompt, the book is designed for that. It's 52 simple chapters. And then in between every chapter, if you have the physical book, there's a page for notes.
Yep.
So
and it has lines on it, so it's not technically blank. So there you go. You got a line page.
Did you notice that?
I did notice the line.
That the font is big also.
The font is big. I noticed the font is big. It's easy to read. You've got your notes and thoughts page. It's for somebody like me who's very tactical. It was great because like there's some chapters you connect with that you'll read and everybody's going to have different ones. You're like, oh my God, that's so me. And then there are others you're like, okay, I get this. And then where the writing prompts and the questions to discuss help it. I think as I'm going through it, I only have one child at home, but I'm like, this would be a great thing with kids, but I think you could do it with friends, with partners, by yourself. Anyone can create some confetti moments.
Absolutely. And you had said at the very beginning, we have finance backgrounds. Like I'm currently a financial advisor, and you said, kind of a boring, stereotypically boring.
Stereotypically boring. Yep.
Not really, because what we do as advisors is we help our clients plan for confetti moments. Yep. So whether it's they have the money to pay for their kid to go to college, that's a confetti moment. We just had a client pay their final tuition payment of their third child going to college. Like
waiting on that
is
one.
Something to celebrate.
Yeah.
Whether your kid gets their driver's license or you just paid off your mortgage, like these are all things to celebrate. And I think of the chapter about my client who, this was during the pandemic. He had lost his wife, and he was updating his estate plan. Sounds boring. And he was I was working with him to set his intentions for where does he want his money to go when he's no longer here. And he wanted the money to go to his local senior center where he goes every single day and who's really taking care of him after his wife died. And then he wanted the money to go to his grandkids. And so I said to him, we can set all this up for you, but given your overall financial picture, would you like to make those gifts now? And he said, what do you mean? And I said, well, what if you just write the checks and meet with the grandkids and give them the money? And so he thought about it, because he's also very humble, right? He didn't want this to be flashy for him, but he did it. And he did this over Thanksgiving. And he sat with each of the 4 grandkids and talked to them about how important they were and how much life they've given him. And this is a guy in his late 80s. And he handed each of them an envelope. Each of them got a letter from him about who they are for him, and then a check that blew them away.
Yeah.
And he said, I was so excited. It was such a wonderful moment for me. It's a confetti moment for the kids.
It's a confetti cannon. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And then I write the story about it and share it with everyone.
I read it in your Wednesday Wisdom that you sent that out. That was one of the stories you did. Yeah. Yeah.
And so then other people catch on and go, should I wait till I'm dead, or should I also start gifting now? Like, let's create the confetti now rather than after you're no longer here.
And I think that's huge for that, especially with our backgrounds in finances. It's always for down the road, down the road, down the road, and you're just bringing the road to right here, the road we're on now.
Right.
Oh, I love it.
That's exactly it.
I love it.
Look around and think, where could I share some joy? I one of the chapters is just about thank you notes and the power of the handwritten thank you note.
Yep.
And one of the things you can do is before the end of the week, write 5 handwritten thank you notes.
Yeah.
And now I've just got a stack of them with stamps on them, ready to go every week. And now it's just part of my weekly process is And it's not even necessarily someone I have to thank from this week.
Right.
I just wrote a thank you note to my 8th grade teacher who taught me how to write.
Oh, I
And
love
who like
that.
really taught me how to write creatively. And she's in her 90s, but she got a thank you note with a copy of my book saying, hey, I don't know if you remember me. It was a very long time ago. But when I was 14, this is what you taught me. And I wanted to thank you for that gift.
That's amazing.
Right? So unexpected for people, but it's that little spark of confetti that we all have the power to send to people.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you for sharing your story and everything, and your book and all of the vignettes. So Confetti Moments, we're going to put a link up because Amy, this is, I need to go, I've read it, but I haven't done the stuff in it. So my commitment is I'm going to start doing that. I'm going to bring my child in with me, the one at home, and just try to have more joy because she needs that too. Teenagers, kids, they need this so bad today. So Amy, thank you for sharing your story with us. I'm going to put a link so you guys can all pick up a copy and do this. And I would love, we'll put Amy's contact info too, because she's got a tremendous newsletter each week that goes out, and it shares a lot of these stories, which is why I've heard some of them before. But it's a great way to share, and email us, comment, let us know what confetti moments you created for yourself and for others, because we'd love to keep this ripple going. So Amy Jamrog, thank you. Best-selling author Amy Jamrog, thank you for being with us. And we will see you guys again next week. But until then, go create some confetti moments, have some fun, and bring more joy into your world. So we will see you guys. Thanks again, Amy, and we'll see you guys next week on another episode of Renew.